There's probably a lot of owners.
You know everybody in here. I mean,
You don't know that I.
listen,
Oh, we know that.
Okay, good. Everyone came back. We didn't scare anybody. That's
well, I had changed. I had to.
Yeah.
got
I
so-
switched your spots, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that, because you were sitting
did.
right here.
Yeah.
And like
so why-
sometimes I talk to him during the meeting. I don't want to like reach over and try to talk.
Has anybody talked to Cheryl?
No,
Why
no,
not?
she's not here.
Why not?
Because you asked me to see her when she comes in. She's not here.
She'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Bill is here. Bill. Where's
Yeah,
Cheryl?
yeah, sure. No, don't worry. I've spoken.
Oh.
That'll be fine.
All right.
Want to ride over? She said, no, I'll be fine.
Okay, okay.
You're fine.
All right.
You know I do.
I know.
Oh. All right. so
Oh. I'm
You have your
like, where's
cheat
my
sheet?
board? I mean, where's the?
Everything.
Hey, hey. This is. My God. So we used to have,
Different positions now.
no, I know the signs.
Yeah, different positions.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do it. The reason I didn't do it yet, we had a maid already, but I want to wait till we announce positions and all of that. I felt like putting it out. I'm like, well,
I
there
know.
goes. You know, we have them all done already, though.
We were
I just-
inside, yeah.
I felt like we could just wait for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Blank ones.
Well, I was gonna do ones that just had your name on it, but I'm like, that seems like a waste for one meeting then. And everybody knows who you guys are, let's be real. But they'll have them, we'll have them with all the positions for
And
July.
also people can't see it because the way this is done. you
Well,
know,
and
people can't
if you notice, in the last two meetings, we actually lost our name tags anyways, because the AC pushes them off the table. When the fans turn on right here, they literally slowly move off the table.
But I'm just heating in here right now. It was such a relief getting into that
I
car.
turned the seat heater up. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, it was just, I mean, really, I'm still freezing. I'm still got goosebumps.
I just run so hot. It was so nice. Feels
Is
so
thi-
nice.
Is this for some sort of a mascot or
No,
something?
it's this massive. Why is this horse here?
I don't know, champion on. I don't know.
Ah,
It's some sort of like motto. I don't know.
I don't know, what is this?
Painting mascot.
I don't know. It's always, we just push it a little bit this way. It's always just sat right here. I like it.
I'm glad you do.
It adds character.
There's a microphone in there.
That's cool.
It's recording us.
That's fine. I'm recorded in every meeting I'm in. It's fine.
I guess we can,
Still have 1 minute.
Oh, thank you. Like,
what did he do? Oh, minute, oh, your phone.
Yeah, I texted him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
Make sure you add each other to speed dial.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing? Does speed dial still exist?
I don't think so.
Does that date all of us to say speed
Yeah.
dial? I think it does. Yeah.
never seen her either. Never, no idea.
I think it's a setting if it has to.
Oh, speed dial?
Yeah, I think it's.
It still exists? Okay, okay.
Oh,
There's
that's,
a program
Cool.
in your phone.
That would be
oh,
fun.
Are we
You
good?
have to edit it in the context.
oh, okay.
Thank you. I have her keeping an eye on the guy for
It's
me.
amazing, though.
I asked her to sit over there, but can you just give me like a wave or something if I need to intervene?
He is.
6 o'clock, we can start.
You know who he is? Okay, you never seen him? I never seen him, so I don't know, no idea who he is. He looks very keen and sort of,
very.
oh my God, does he know what he's come for? Insurance, man.
should we start?
Oh,
Should we start?
yeah, 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending this.
It's like, people having problems getting on.
Oh.
Zoom passcode.
I mean,
Some people have just got
the password is 001131 001131. We tried to get rid of the password altogether, but Zoom won't let you not do a password
Okay.
anymore.
So just
You
zero.
have to at least have a waiting room, a
3, 1.
two-factor authentication, or a password. One of the three now is mandatory.
00131.
001131.
The address.
00, then the address here. Yeah. Oh,
See,
sure.
people are really keen on
Okay.
getting.
Okay, let's try again.
Yes.
Thank you for attending. This is a business meeting open to members of Nepenthe Association and guests of the board. The Nepenthe Board of Directors is a policy board, and the role of the general manager is to oversee the day-to-day operations. The primary purpose of the meeting is to ensure that the association is meeting its responsibility to provide oversight, maintain the value of the property, and to serve homeowners. So as you all know, we had our annual election last week. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to start here.
Sorry.
Added on page. The board met in executive session this afternoon, and we approved the following contracts. Advanced Roof Clubhouse Roof Repair, $23,374. No, I'm sorry. We did not approve that. We put it on hold. This is it's not quite clear whether what's going to have to happen here on that roof. I'm sorry. We approved the CNA engineering survey lot lines. The cost is $5,500. This is between Nepenthe and Campus Commons on the upper side of Swarthmore. And we approved critical path reconstruction fence gate siding proposals for 24 Adelphi, 2318 American River, and 2319 Swarthmore. Then we approved the Grove tree work proposal for Zone 2 at the cost of $28,210. And we also approved the HVAC system replacement here at the clubhouse for $21,556. Okay, so then this is kind of a little unusual, so it's out of order. We had the annual meeting election last week, and we appointed the following positions. I was elected to be the president again. The vice president
To be determined.
is to be determined at this point. Then we have treasurer Courtney Delphin. Welcome to the board. Then we have secretary Brian Coates. Welcome to the board. And member at large Christina George. And the board appointed committee liaisons positions as follows. Brian Coates, Architectural Committee. Courtney Delphin is going to be Finance Committee. And the fifth person will be Outreach Committee. I will be ILS Committee. And Christina George is going to be Grounds Committee. So the board needs a resolution here. There's a fifth board member appointment. I would like to make the motion for Cheryl Nelson to be the appointed fifth person to the board. And also I would like her to be to continue as the vice president. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Cheryl Nelson as vice president and liaison to outreach. Yes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Are you an A or an A?
Nay.
Marcus, you're an A.
A.
Okay. Thank you.
So motion carries?
Motion carried.
Okay. So
We did.
Are you asking for the board member votes and who voted yes or no on the appointment? So Marcus, Christina, and Courtney were yes votes. Brian was a no vote. You're welcome.
so then I would like to, the board would like to,
Cheryl here? No.
Cheryl, we're not doing homeowner comments right now. Thank you. Is Cheryl here? Where?
Yeah.
Oh, Cheryl, would you like to join the board? Thank you.
yeah, so the board would like to thank all the committee members, the outgoing committee members that have served over the past year or two. So thank you very much for serving the homeowner association. So then we are coming to the committee applications, the committee, the different committees. We received several applications. Since I'm going to be ILS, we received applications from Alexander Hastings, Pam DiMaggio, Jackie Grabidis, and Ricardo Pineda. And we are going to appoint Jackie Grabidis as the chair of ILS. What's that? I just said, oh, yeah, and then, hold on, election. So then,
We have to do the chair and the committee members for each.
so Jackie Grabidis going to be the chair if she agrees. And then Jackie is not here. She used to be on the board. Okay. So Jackie, Pam DiMaggio, Ricardo Pineda. And
Do a motion for that.
can I have a motion to appoint them? So that-
Yes, I make the motion to approve the appointment.
And I will second it.
And
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next committee?
so hold on, I'll do the election since I'm election committee, Jolene Hecht and Yvonne Del Biagio. Can I have a motion on that? Yeah. We don't need a chair on that one, do we?
I'll motion for that.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Brian, you're next with.
Architectural Review Committee. Alan Waters appointing as chair. And then the remaining members would be Alan Davenport, Paul Serafimidis, and Patricia Singer.
Can we have a motion for those?
How great. I'll move to approve.
And I'll second.
We'll do Marcus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next.
Go ahead.
Finance Committee, I'd like to appoint Carol Duke as chair with committee members John Apostolo, Tara Faust, Susan Timmer, and Nina White.
Okay, I'll move to approve the appointments.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
As that leaves me with Grounds Committee.
And outreach.
And outreach, you're right. So just a little preamble before I go through.
No, you're good.
They're all laughing as I say preamble. As an introduction. The board has just has decreased the committee size, the grounds committee size from the current 13 slots in an effort to increase deliberative decision-making efficiency. So the board also feels that this membership reduction brings it in line with the size of other committees. It's anticipated that there will be fewer zone walks, perhaps each zone once every 7 months, but that will be discussed further by the committee. Meetings may focus on plant and hardscape options to meet upcoming mandated changes. And planning activities will be emphasized, requiring member computer skills to include creating and editing documents as well as email correspondence. So to move on to the elect the committee members that we will be appointing, Paula Connors, Jean Dasher, Diane Durova, Don Elvanger, Mary Gray, Teresa McCracken, and Jim Shaw. Jim Shaw will be the secretary, will be the chair, and Teresa McCracken will be the secretary to the committee.
Can we have a motion?
I move to name those people to the grounds committee.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that leaves you, Cheryl, with outreach.
All right, we have applications from Jan Beal, Ann Bennett, Marcy Best, Yvonne DelBaggio, Carol Duke, Patricia Furukawa, Geraldine Gelfand, Bonnie Jacobson, Teresa McCracken, and Laura Slevin. I would accept all of these, and with her concurrence, name Marcy Best as continuing chair.
Can I have a motion?
I move to accept.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody. Next is going to be the construction manager report.
All right, so we are nearing the end of phase 1 here. Phase 2 is expected in August of 2024. We're still trying to trug along here. We've had kind of, the hiccup with them CPR losing Mike, and it's been them kind of regrouping. But they've got back on schedule, and we're anticipated to complete that and begin phase 2 in August. So
Who's the new,
Brian is the new head person in charge.
taking Mike's place?
Correct.
Okay.
And Luis and Caesar, who are Mike's brothers, have stepped up a lot as well in the support there.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
and I'm just going to go right into my GM report. So,
With the report for the construction, we need to make sure that we inform the fact that homeowners in advance, right? And keep everyone informed.
I
and
think the
updated.
schedule for phase 2 is just going to be much more clearer, concise, communicative. I think it's just going to be much better than phase 1. So my hopes for that is, yes, constant communication, letting people know not only to expect siding and fence repairs, if there's any landscape remediation in those areas, anything, they will be notified of that.
Are we
So
talking about
yes.
end of August or middle? or
Beginning of August,
beginning
we're
of
thinking.
August?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. To go into my GM report and to kind of touch base on that as well. Paul Reeves will come in prior to the start of phase 2 to give us an update and game plan and just kind of go back to the basics and discuss the game plan moving forward. So we'll get updates from him before the project. We're also hoping that in the next month or, couple months, we had a conversation with Nick from Carson regarding AB 1572, because we know that's going to be a hot ticket item that we're going to need to address in the next few years. And he has a lot of resources and materials and ideas on how to combat this legislation. So we're hoping to have him here for an open session meeting in the next couple of months so that he can really explain the impact that that's going to have on Nepenthe and next steps moving forward. update with the annual meeting, I just wanted to say, thank you to Jackie and Cheryl for their terms and service to the community, and just a huge welcome to Courtney and Brian. They've really hit the ground running already in support and trying to help maintain the beauty and the amazingness that is Nepenthe. So congratulations to you both, and we're so happy to have you on board. So welcome. Water meter update. I've been discussing how to budget this for 2025, and I've had meetings with the accounting department from First Service on how this will impact the budget, how we get actuals on these numbers. They are very confident that this is going to be a smooth transition and it's going to be really easy to plug this into the budget. There's two schools of thoughts that for how we're going to assess it, right? It's either going to go in your monthly assessment. So in that, 620 base, you're just going to have water included in there. Or it might even be separated out as a separate line item. So when you get your bill every month, you'll have the assessment that's 620, and then there's something that says, utility assessment, and it's just separated out. So that will be worked out when the board works out the budget in terms of what they want to do with the budget, if they want to separate it, if they want to keep it the same. But the accounting department's very flexible, and we can do it whatever way that works. I've got averages now for that we can plug into the budget. And actually looking at the numbers, I was a little nervous because I didn't know when you look at all the water and you divide it by 590, what are we looking at, right? Are people going to be spending way more, way less? I just wanted to get an idea of where we were at. And based off my calculations, not a lot's going to change. So they're not going to skyrocket. You're not going to see, $300 water bills all of a sudden. So I'm very confident that this is going to be a smooth transition for 2025. So I'm working with Wood Rogers and the city of Sacramento and the AR team over at First Service to implement this. Last but not least, what I am the most excited about is the website redesign. So as you know, the website that we have now is not super user friendly. It's kind of like a catch-all for everything. You go into, architecture, and there's just everything there and nothing's, organized. Same with grounds, board documents, everything. So we're working to elevate the website, make it way more user friendly. And we'll end up actually coordinating with Outreach in July for the launch of that, and to help explain to people, how to navigate the page, how to create an account, because there will be a login on this website now. And just all of kind of the questions that residents may have. We'll have a forum that will support all of those questions. And if anybody has questions, concerns, ideas, I love it. So let me know if you have anything like that, things you might want to see, things that are kind of a headache now on the website that you want to see improved. I'm really open to ideas and feedback. So please let me know if you see anything that you would recommend changing. That's it.
So the emphasis really on this web design is the password.
Yes.
It's going to be password
Yes, it's
protected.
going to be password. There's going to be very few things that are not password protected. So the basic description of the community, the pictures of the community, things like that, staff information, that won't be under password login, but things like board minutes, board videos, committee minutes, committee agendas, everything like that, that is very Nepenthe specific will be under password.
Okay.
But I will be here to help coordinate login. So I know one of the biggest things that I'm hearing is, well, I'm not going to know how to create a login. That's really confusing for me. And I can create logins on the back end for people. So my game plan is to basically create a sheet that people can fill out their preferred email, preferred password, and I can create that login on their behalf so that they don't have all that. So they can just go to login with the information they provided me, and they're all good to go.
And so when will that happen?
So there's an outreach forum that we're
Event.
coordinating, I believe, in July.
Live.
And so the website should be good to go by then. We might even if it's ready before then, we might wait to do it just so that we can launch it and have that forum with people first. So
So
stay tuned.
It may be possible to have them run simultaneously while you're transitioning.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
Yeah. So we pushed it for a few weeks out that I think it's going to be ready before then, so that one, the staff can learn, work out all the kinks and be able to prepare to answer any questions. And two, we don't launch it and then we have the forum 2 weeks later and they've already been mass confusion for 2 weeks. That's what I don't want to happen. So.
Great, thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, we're coming to the committees. Architectural Committee, Alan Waters.
Good evening. You can hear me? It is on?
Yes.
Yes, I am Alan Waters, Chair of Nepenthe's Architectural Review Committee. the board has my committee minutes. There is an application approved, recommended for approval by you for an awning. It is routine as awnings go. They don't come in very often, but almost all of them within memory have been done by this one particular company, contractor, Goodman Cole. And so that's familiar to us. We're also asking you to approve an heating cooling system replacement that is a bit more complicated than usual with various aspects at 1455 University. The committee has approved the architectural component of the plan. I wanted to say for members in the community who might not be so familiar with how things work. For the 20-some years I've been working on this committee, the rule of thumb has always been to try to place the outdoor compressor, maybe the air conditioner or the heat pump, in the original location or as close to the original location as possible. And this home has still its original air conditioner sandwiched in a little itty bitty 3-sided box that won't work. So what we're asking for, indeed the homeowner is asking for, and his contractor, is to have the unit moved 4 or 5 feet out into the middle of a row of hedges. And so we are supportive of that. As I've put in the minutes, so at least 2 bushes would need to be removed and possibly 2 others. And the drip irrigation may need to be altered. Those are decisions for the grounds committee and its representatives to make. And also the downspout would need to be altered, extended outward. And so I'm not sure how that would work, but obviously I think you have before you the architectural committee's recommendation for approval of this architectural aspect of this application. Would you say, Nicole, that the board would deal with that and then these other matters will be communicated on later?
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's about all I have to discuss. Are there questions from?
And then we had the emergency HVAC too on Vanderbilt, right? The 1191.
Yes.
Okay.
What?
So is the, I mean, I'm looking at the minutes. So are we saying that, I'm going back now to university.
there was a-
1455. So as far as ARC is concerned, you've agreed to the relocation of this HVAC system, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I did go out there, and of course I will go with the chair of grounds committee as well. But if that's in agreement, then we will remove the shrubs. But do we pay for this since it's going to be, or just a question? I mean, when that happens
Well, so you have to cap, I'm assuming cap the irrigation.
well,
as
so the irrigation, we were looking at that, I was looking at that, and the lines, it's Netafilm lines right now. So they cannot go around the base of that AC unit. So we would have to cap it. So it's not a big deal. In other words, it would be capped. And we could remove the 2 shrubs. And it's possible for them to take that HVAC system out, they would actually have to remove one of the shrubs as well. So that depends on obviously on the contractor.
Yes. It does.
But if ARC is agreeing to this, to the relocation, and as long as the pad doesn't go over into the walkway, as far as just for the removal of the shrubs and the irrigation,
Is it
shouldn't be
going
a
to
big deal.
impact the neighbor?
No.
No. it
No.
wouldn't, no.
Uh,
It's more
the-
whether it comes onto the path, onto the walkway. That's the only issue, right? And-
It would not come onto the walkway.
Won't.
Presumably the pad under the compressor would be pushed up.
Yeah.
There's a diagram. Well, actually, maybe it didn't come into the minutes, but it's with the
Yeah.
application. Pushed up right to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
The sidewalk leading to a gate for the neighbors. The neighboring house is also a patio home, so the sidewalk leads up. That's the main entrance into the house off the alley. The pad would go up to that sidewalk, and the compressor itself would probably be 2 to 2.5 inches in from the edge of the pad. So
How far from the fence would it be? HVAC
I'm not
system?
sure exactly. I'm
Okay.
guessing 4 or 5 feet. As I
Oh,
think I wrote
okay.
down, Paul
Okay.
Reeves has already been out there and painted with his orange
Oh,
paint.
okay.
So the site is already marked and the bushes are already marked.
So we can take a look at that, and that shouldn't be a problem on as far as the grounds situation.
No,
is
and I would
concerned.
think just work with grounds to come up with like a mini remediation
Yeah,
plan for that area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we talking about a work order or a proposal to do this? And
No, first we would actually take, go with the chair, grounds chair, and look at that. and
I'd
then
say
make
a grounds
decision.
walk. Yeah.
Yeah, do that on a walk. Okay.
And going back to Marcus's question about affecting the neighbor, I did think about that and the answer is it will narrow the space around that walkway going in. However, it goes to a gate and the gate is the same width as all our gates. So the neighbor, the compressor will not narrow the walkway more than the gate already narrows it. So it shouldn't really affect access to the neighbor's home. And I'd recommend that grounds or the grounds contractor meet with the homeowner to find out his desires about the bush removals and the irrigation,
It's
things like
pretty
that.
straightforward with bush removal. If you're relocating it to that particular area, it's kind of looked at it and it'd be about one shrub that would have to be removed. So maybe 1.5, but I think it's one can manage. So, but again,
According
that's
to what-
final, those are final things that we would work with the chair and
Yes.
office and management.
Yes, that would be good. And it's my understanding, it's been the history that when the homeowner asked Nepenthe to modify fences and/or use sometimes with moving a fence to make it out, as happened with my home 20 years ago, the bushes have to be moved out too. The homeowner pays for that. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
that Nepenthe will be asking this homeowner to pay for that.
You said the downspout needs to be
Yeah.
relocated too?
I'm sorry, what?
A downspout?
Yes. No, not relocated. It needs to be extended out per Paul Reeves about, I forgot how many inches, just a few more. It's because the contractor is proposing to extend the refrigerant lines and the high voltage electrical wiring and conduit and a control wire in a kind of metal steel, galvanized steel box on top of the soil right up against the base of the fence. And it would pass right where the downspout comes down. So the downspout needs to come out 3 inches so it can move over over that area. So it's just a short extension.
Who is going to do that?
and, yeah,
Advanced roofing?
is that CPR? or is
CPR
that-
would do it.
CPR?
Yeah, with CPR would do that. Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Any questions?
This is in someone's backyard or is it outside the
Outside.
fence?
It is in the common area.
Okay.
It's been, seems to be the rule of thumb here that if we're talking about an area that is not within someone's fenced-in backyard, we call it common area. And
Well, this is kind of a unusual setup because there are 2 patio homes next to each other, correct? That's what it is?
yes,
And the other house actually has their AC unit along by the walkway as well. So it's just right there, really on opposite sides.
yes, yes. So it is in the common area.
So, I mean, so we recommend this to be approved, but then we still have to deal with the bushes.
Yeah, we still
When
have
are we
some-
going to
we
do
still-
that? So how long is
Well-
it going to take for them, for the homeowner
Well, I
to
would-
actually get approval to move forward?
Well, we can do that now that we have got appointed committees. And so now we can move forward with just reviewing this area and just confirming and together with management, working this, and it can be done pretty fast. Mhm.
I know the homeowner would appreciate that because
Yeah,
of course
he
he'd
can
like
get
to
back
get
to you
green
on
light
that.
to
Yeah,
go ahead
really.
with his
We just
installation.
coordinated with Nicole and,
Yeah, 'cause it's
yeah,
105 today.
yeah,
It's way too hot to be waiting on it. So.
that's right. So we should just do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
Uh,
And I'll
Okay.
coordinate with Jim Shaw and,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ellen. Outreach,
Motion to approve.
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Like to make a motion that we approve the recommendations of the Architectural Committee with the proviso that we coordinate the extra work and the office schedules the payment for that work.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now you can do outreach.
Okay, now, Outreach Committee, Marcy Best.
Well, we have a wonderful event planned for Sunday, and it's not going to be 105, so there's no excuse not to come. So we're having Peter Morgan, who is a multi-talented musician. He's local, plays lots of different instruments, and we've had him here before. We had great reviews on his performance, so we asked him to come back. So on Sunday at 6, we'll start the music. And just in case you don't have a ticket, we can sell you one tonight. The next thing is the 4th of July. It happens to be on a Thursday this year. This is probably the biggest event we have in the year. We have lots of fun. We have a little parade. We have a grand marshal who's a veteran. We're hoping to have some other different things still in the planning mode. And it's just fun. It's come have a picnic, bring some food. We are selling hot dogs, and just visit with your neighbors, and hopefully we'll have some music. So that's about it for us right now. Any questions?
Are we still doing Bunko later this month?
Oh, yeah, we do have a bunco. Jerry, what day? 20th? June 20th. 6 p.m., Jerry? 6 p.m.? 6 p.m. And that is a lot of fun. You get to move from table to table, so you get to meet everybody that's there. And it doesn't take a lot of brain work because people will tell you what to do. Okay? That's it.
Well, thank you, Marcy. ILS committee, anybody from ILS? Oh, yeah, Bill. I'm sure you have something to say.
I am here to say I have nothing to say. I missed our last meeting and I have not seen the minutes from it. So I'm sorry to say I'm not up to date on anything new that transpired, and I haven't talked to Nancy. And I take it Nancy is not on the committee again?
Well, she did not put her application in, and neither did
neither
you,
did I.
by the way.
Neither did I.
Can we expect that application?
Probably. Yeah. No comment.
Yes.
Yeah. But other than that, I have no report, obviously.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. All right. Grounds Committee, Jim Shaw. I saw him. I saw you.
Good evening. Offering just a couple of brief comments. I'm pleased to see that the request for work in Zone 2 was approved this evening. A large part of what we did during the last 2 or 3 months meetings was to really focus on putting together a couple of pieces of information that will, in the effort to increase transparency, be available to anyone in the community. Certainly will be available when we have our meetings on a monthly basis. Looking at a piece that comes from Teresa McCracken as the originator of what is the actual flow of a work request from a homeowner. How is it handled by office, or how does it come about to the committee and then back up to the board and then actually out and get done? I think there's some need for clarification there. Secondly, we're working on a revision to the zone walk to make it easier for all involved, particularly volunteers, but still be able to stay current on the condition of the community, and to make sure that we have access to third-party vendors or contractors on a timely basis, but not overuse that asset as we go about. We're looking for expert opinion as we actually walk the grounds. Because many times, those of us that don't come from a professional botanical background, if you will look at something and, well, those leaves are brown. Well, yeah, but it's a deciduous tree. Oh, I didn't know that. You know, that kind of stuff. So we're going to really try to make sure that we have timely access to expertise without abusing it. And I guess really the emphasis is going forward is going to be more focusing on what we can do with limited resources this coming year that we already have a triage in place that when a homeowner request comes through that affects either public safety or asset protection. Those, I mean, they just jump right to the top. Those that need a little help in terms of an aesthetic component to a residence, those given limited budgets tend to fall further down the priority tree. But it goes through a definite process. One of those that is really a stickler for us on that and has really been helpful to me is Diane Durwa, who's here tonight. Yes, hi. But the idea is that we've got interested people, maybe a little smaller group, but that does make communication a little easier. And it does make deliberation around the table in meetings a little easier. And decision-making, hopefully, as a result of that, is going to be a little easier so that you'll get clearer information. That same clearer information will be available to the members of the community, which I think is one thing I really want to stress this year, rather than, you know, it just disappeared, or why don't we get this, that, you know, we've had enough of that. And so with the committee's help, with Teresa, with Christina and myself, the whole committee is going to try to make sure that we do the best to outreach. So if someone says, how about this? Well, here's something for you right now. Take it, be aware of it, because we're all trying to make this a better place. Are there any questions?
Jim,
Yes,
you
Brian.
mentioned public safety. Could you give me an example of a public safety?
Yeah, I would try. This development, when it was first put in by Powell and over the years, has not necessarily aged as well as it should have. And we do find that in some areas as you go away from the foundation out into the common areas, for whatever reason, that ground immediately next to the foundation is lower than the surrounding area that as you move away into the common areas. When you get rainfall, guess what? You've got water coming down. We've had several issues of water damage going over the foundation, filtering into the house. All of a sudden, bingo, if you've got a nice floor, it's gone. Now, we've also had issues with trees. I'm sure you're aware of that. And that's obviously a no-brainer. I can tell you there's another issue that Don Person brought up. Those of you who may know Don has been involved over the years. We took a look at CAL FIRE's regs for minimizing risk of fire. One of the things is you never put dried material, bark or anything else right next to the wall of a house. And guess what? We're all wood here. And so that's another thing we're going to take a look at in terms of public safety. If you take a look at the regs from CAL FIRE, they're primarily designed to eliminate something like a paradise fire, okay? But there are kernels inside that report that we can implement without a great deal of capital expenditure, virtually nothing, but just changing our methods and practices in terms of how we blow material down the driveways. Well, maybe we don't blow it sideways up against the house. Maybe we blow it down the driveway. You know, those kinds of things. So it's just going to be an attempt to try to do outreach and transparency, come together on some common sense things that make sense. And we're focusing on issues this year. Other questions? Didn't mean to take so much time.
No, thank you for the thorough explanation. Thank you. Finance Committee, Susan?
Hi, good evening. I don't have anything to report either. We didn't meet last month. I was away and our reschedule got kind of caught up in the whole annual meeting kind of business. So sorry about that.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Election, nominating committee. Mm,
I was gonna ask about this because is there really, when do we add this back on for nominating an election? We're not, I mean, we just finished the
Usually in the fall.
election. So maybe pull it off for
Pull
the
it up,
agenda
pull
for
it
the
off,
next few
pull it
meetings.
off.
We'll readdress this once we're
Yeah.
back in the election swing of things again. Okay,
You can look at the calendar when it usually gets put on.
will do.
Thank you. Okay, then homeowner correspondence. Did everybody have a chance to read the correspondence? Any questions? Okay. Homeowner comments, correspondence. Cheryl did that one. That was great. A lot of information. Thank you. Anything?
Not off the top of my head unless someone has questions about the responses or want further information that perhaps we can direct you to resources.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Oh, okay. Moving on. The minutes from the open session, May 1st, they need to be approved. And anybody want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Then the financial statement, April 2024. Anybody want to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You?
Then resolutions to record liens. Anybody want to make a motion to approve that? I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, then the homeowner forum. Anybody over here? Bill. Oh, you first. Bill said you first.
First, hi there, folks. If you don't mind, I'd like to sit down for just a minute or two. First, I'd like to welcome the new board members. And going back to some things that I've mentioned before, the funding of the reserve budget is going lower and lower. And I'd like to suggest that the board go forward managing the reserve budget by managing the funding level. And I've made suggestions about how to do that in the past. And right now, phase 2 of the siding is coming at us. And I would like to suggest strongly that schedule be stretched out in order to not hit the reserve budget so hard. And grounds is a factor in that also. I heard Christina mentioned a mandated grounds something or other. I would like to see a written description of how, what that mandate is and how it's reached. And that would be helpful for, I'm sure, all of the homeowners. So that's it. Oh, one other thing for the new members on the grounds thing and the funding for the reserve budget. Two things, actually. One, I have spoken before as much as 4 years ago and most recently in the past year that the grounds work, we can't afford to do all of the grounds or much of the grounds work so quickly. I understand the ground work that needs to be done in order to complement the siding work. So I would like to say, really strongly look at that and how that money is being spent. And the final thing is that that if you do take on a task of measuring, keeping the funding level of the reserve budget, and I would suggest it's gone from 60 something down to 48 projected for this year. Browning says it's going into the 30s the next few years, that I'd like to offer a suggestion that maybe you set a target of 50, 55% for 2025, but you achieve that through good management and not just by dues increases. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Bill?
And there was a chat note. So if anybody speaks, if you could just say your name before, that would help everybody on Zoom. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Bill White. I live on Elmhurst Circle. Two things tonight. One, on the December meeting that we had regarding the recall, some of the folks that were speaking in Christina's behalf characterized the people that signed the petition as being members of a cabal who were out to get Betsy. Betsy was a friend of mine. I resented being labeled as a cabal member on that. The reason I signed the petition was because of the way I felt I was treated in our request to have a larger tree put in our property. The way the grounds chairman, Jim, was treated in his support of it, and the way all the other owners on our alley were treated in our request to simply have a larger version of a tree put in. So that's why I signed it. I'm not a cabal member. I was sad to see Betsy go. Anyway, I'm going to read this. I was surprised to learn that the recall election was back on according to the notice of recall. According to the notice of recall had been placed on hold, was now on. I may have missed something at the board meeting when the decision regarding the recall was made. As I recall, on the advice of the prior lawyer, the board voted to reject the recall petition, not place it on hold. This decision overrode the previous board's decision to accept the recall petition. Was I mistaken on this, or was the on hold statement incorrect, or another example of the prior board's lack of transparency? I was also surprised at the timing of the announcement just days before the board election. Also, I'm confused by the report of expenditures related to the recall. The costs listed begin back in February of 2023. The recall petition was not presented to the board until December of 2023. There's no explanation as to what those expenditures were for, but I assume they were in response to issues raised by some owners regarding board expenditures and practices. Although those issues may have ended up as part of the recall justification, listing them as part of the recall, which was not in play at the time, is a bit of a push. Also, the costs listed for December and January should actually be the responsibility of the board. Had the board simply followed the process in the bylaws, scheduled a vote, no legal fees would have been incurred. Apparently, the advice received by the board from our then attorney turned out to be incorrect and was revised by the association's new attorney. Had the board simply continued to comply with the bylaws, as they started out doing, schedule the recall election and not engage the attorney apparently in an effort to determine options for handling the recall, most if not all of those costs could have been avoided. Reporting those costs in the notice of, that the recall was back on without any explanation as to their purpose could be viewed as an effort to prejudice the owners against the recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Bill, excuse me, may I have a copy of that? Bill, could I have a copy of that?
Yeah, it'll save her from having to write it up. She can scan it and convert it to text.
I'm assuming it's your turn, Ashley?
My turn, I'm babysitting, so it's my turn. And then it's going back to babysitting. So I couldn't have been teed up more beautifully. And, you know, that's a question I have is, you know, I can understand maybe 4 hours of the attorney, but to assign, you know, say to hire ballot box to look like they're not prejudiced or to make it look more fair, but then assign attorney fees, which, you know, predated the recall by 10 months and, you know, not do what statute says, not do what our bylaws say, and then just be in some type of egomaniac deep denial and not doing the recall. Now you have to do the recall, but I believe that's a breach of fiduciary duty for not taking the, I've said this before, I'll say it again. A breach of fiduciary duty makes you personally responsible. And I think homeowners ought to be paid back. Not, you know, Brian and Courtney weren't part of this, but I think those board members that were on the board ought to pay my attorney fees and the HOA attorney fees and pay them back. And my attorney's been on vacation, but I'm going to be having a conversation. There's also been personal breaches of fiduciary duty when doing self-dealing. You know, that's like the worst breach of fiduciary duty you can have, getting a new front yard or a rock job as a demonstration. Anyway, I would behoove you to read the association's conflict of interest policies because it's very clear that you have to disclose when it is a director. The director leaves the room. It needs to be written in the notes. You know, read through it, explains it all, but to send out a notice to people, assigning legal costs to me, bringing that up right before the election and making some comment we don't agree with, say we don't agree with it, and then not including any of my attachments, but then putting Christina's response. I mean, that is outrageous conduct. And I would say, you know, the most recent breach I would call it a flagrant self-dealing. When I call her out on doing stuff for herself and she goes out and does it again. So, you know, I'm not going to be fooled. And I mean, this is very simple law and I'm sure it'll get resolved. And I hope I can get the support of other homeowners here to get our HOA operating paid back for these frivolous legal costs. So.
Thank you, Ashley. Anybody over here? On the right? Anybody on Zoom? Charles? You're muted.
We go. How about now?
Good, thank
Is it
you.
working now?
Yes.
We're gonna turn the volume up. Okay, go ahead.
All right, folks, I have a question regarding the weeds along the levee. My house is adjacent to the levee, one of the 13 houses between Howe Avenue and the apartments as you go downstream. The weeds are currently approximately 4 to 5 feet high, dry grass. And the concern is that between Howe Avenue and the apartments, there are about 60 trees, most of them redwood trees. So I think we have a high fire danger. I know the American River managers have decreed that they are taking care of the levee now, not Nepenthe. But my question is, do we have any influence at all regarding the weeds when they get that high and that dry at this time of the year? And secondly, by the way, as an aside, I want to thank you folks for approving the furnace air conditioning system. That's my house.
You're welcome. We want to have you stay cool. As far as I remember, we talked to the city, I believe, and they said they only have, or they're only going to cut the grass twice a year, if I remember correctly. That was before your time.
I heard 4. whichever. I heard 4 times, but not often.
And it seems like we don't have much influence. I mean, they are telling us what to do and certainly not the way around.
Can I say something?
Sure,
So
please.
in my experience in other communities, report it to the fire department. The fire department is not messing around the last like 2 years about fire risk. And they will put basically a sign on the property that says they have a certain amount of time to cut back the weeds. If not, the fire department will come and do it and basically place a lien on their property.
Well, it's the weeds are
not-
not on the Penthey property. They're on the
Are they
American
on the
River. No, the trees are on the Penthey side of the line after we
Where
had
is
it.
the issue?
I'm sorry?
But it's not our responsibility to maintain, correct? Okay, so that would still be the city's responsibility and the fire department can still mark it as a hazard.
But it
So-
would be then the county that's responsible, not Nepenthe.
Yeah, the county or whoever's scope of responsibility it currently is, it forces their hand to do it.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I think the gentleman has a very legitimate. Oh, I'm sorry. I think the gentleman has a very, very legitimate request to make of this community. I don't know if all of you are aware of, we just had last month or a month and a half ago, we had a fire that consumed a home over on Dunbarton. Okay. And I'm just saying, and I think Don Person was dead on. And CAL FIRE, if they walk over there and see that, we're in trouble. And guess what? If they're going to post a notice on the owner, guess what? That's us. That's common area that is not inside the patio. Or it could be their responsibility. But the point is, if we are not, fire department, city hall, county, guess what? It doesn't mitigate the risk. And if we've got an immediate need, you may want to think about a supplemental mowing. Okay, so what? Couple $100, who knows what it is? I
No,
wouldn't be
no,
prepared.
no.
I wouldn't be prepared to
We
say anything
can't.
other than a genuine concern that the man has 4.5 feet weeds. It's tough. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The difficulty is that we have been told by the water, I don't know the name of the agency, that we are not permitted to do anything with that area because of flood risk and the work they are doing for the flood. So I think Nicole's suggestion is the best one. Put it back on the city and let the fire department push it with the city. They call it a tow. It comes down to the levee
I'm
and at
familiar-
that tow.
No, I am familiar
Okay.
with that, Cheryl. I'm
So
just
they told us we
I'm
can't
genuinely
touch it.
concerned that mowing the grass, in my mind, doesn't necessarily compromise the integrity of a levee. And to the extent that we have the ability to respond promptly while pursuing other avenues. Grounds is what we do. Maybe it's a motion, but we are prone to fire in certain areas around here. I just hope we have the ability to move long-term with the city and the county and fire, but short-term answer the immediate need because we're going into a tough season.
Just one note, Charles, would you mind sending me photos and locations of where this is at? And I will personally report it to the fire department. And I will follow up on it. Can you send me all that documentation so I can follow up accordingly? Can you hear me? You're muted. You're muted. I can't hear you.
How about now?
Yes, perfect.
Right, I can certainly take the photographs. I'm having problem transferring them from my camera to this particular computer. I have another computer, but it's in Southern California. But I will be more than happy to help with that. By the way, as an aside or closely related, as you prefer, the fire a year ago in a home along the levee is the one next to my house. And that house and mine, as long as, and many others along the levee here are under redwood trees.
Okay, I will go check out the area. If I don't receive any, pictures from you, I'll go out there and assess it and I will report it to the fire department on behalf of Nepenthe.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't know how many of you watch Channel 10 News, but a situation exactly like this was happening over in one of the other areas here in the city. They reported it, they complained to call Curtis, who he says fixes things. They went out there, took pictures of it, and 2 days later, the city was out there mowing all of the weeds that were up against the people's homes and redoing the whole thing. So beside checking with the fire department, maybe we all call Curtis and say, because my house would go next. Once those trees, because I'm there on Elmhurst, it would jump into the pine tree. Those trees are going to go up like torches when they go. You see them on just come through this place. So that's another option. I mean, any of us can do it. Call Curtis and say, come out here with your cameras and shame the people into taking care of their property.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hand raised.
Oh, Will.
Yeah, just point of clarification. I believe that's a flood control district. So it's not the city, it's not the county, it's a special service district that you've got to put the pressure on to do the mowing.
I got it. I'll handle it.
Thank you, Will. Okay. Anybody else? Meeting adjourned. Not adjourned. Please come to the front.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Alrighty. Oh, this does not look tasty. Haley White. Haley. I have a few issues concerning security in the neighborhood as of late. I did email Marcus and I called him. And I don't know if you got that because I never did get a response.
I cannot respond to homeowners.
Okay, I just gotten your phone number from the front office ladies, the assistant manager. She gave it to me directly and told me to call you. So I wasn't trying to overstep. That's just what I was told my next step was.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
I apologize, but
It's okay. I wasn't trying
can't
to
really
overstep.
act and respond on behalf of the board. So I actually passed. Now I know who you are, but I passed your email on to the office.
Okay, I was just trying to see how that was being addressed and how our security system was actually working here.
Do you want me to deal with this? So I think the office already gave you a response as to kind of how security works. And just a clarification, the community doesn't have patrol. So there's no patrol that's going to patrol the streets and, make sure things are safe. There's nobody running around. Security for Nepenthe is strictly for facility lockup. And so they go to the clubhouse here, they'll go to Dunbarton, they'll go to Elmhurst, and they'll make their rounds, making sure no one's hanging out at the pools, things like that, make sure everything's locked, but they don't patrol the community. So that's not something that we can address for you as a security concern. You're going to have to contact local law enforcement for more serious issues pertaining to your home.
I understand that. The issue is lately right off of Adelphi, 3 people's cars have been broken into and 2 people's cars have been stolen right off the street. And
It's city, unfortunately.
no, I understand that. And the way security was kind of advertised on a realtor listing is that it's patrolling. So to find out that security comes, as I was told by the assistant manager, they pull on the doors and they're here for 15 minutes and that's it. And that's $500 a month, which is a big expense.
not to play devil's advocate here, but it's actually pretty low to only spend a few $100 just to have them come every single day for that month to go to 3 different facilities. In terms of
15
contract pricing, I know it seems like a lot, but it's actually a pretty good deal as compared to other companies and the proposals and quotes we would receive to do the same scope of work.
I understand that, but I mean, for 15 minutes, that's $16 an hour a month. That's $16 an hour.
I don't have the math in front of me, so I can't.
I did the math.
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
My question to you would be, what is your?
I believe my email did state how you guys were gonna address the security issue and how to make this environment feel safe. Oh, she had a question over here.
No, Diane, hold on. I know you have a, okay, here.
I have a question about the cars that you were talking about on the street. Most of the homes in the area have 2-car garages,
Yeah,
and the cars are supposed to be in the garage. If they're not in the garage and they're parked on the street, then that's your responsibility.
I understand that, but people do own more than 2 cars, and that's very common in this neighborhood. And people work in this neighborhood, and their working trucks do not fit in those. Our one neighbor had $6,000 worth of tools. He started his own company that got stolen. And he can't park his truck in the garage. So he has a newborn baby and he has to unload all of his tools every night, park his
Yes,
truck on the
that's-
street.
That's right. And if you lived in Midtown, or you lived in Elk Grove, or you lived someplace else, you would have to do the same thing.
Midtown and Elk Grove don't have $620 a month HOAs.
That's not true. That's not true. It depends upon where you live, but that's enough of that, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, anybody else? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.